Hello, so if you're a fan of absolutely stupidly massive reverbs, you might be interested in this. Give it a second. Keeps going. Still going. And that just goes on for about 45 seconds, I think. So that's a pretty big reverb. And this is version 2 of my free Shimmer patch for VCV. And obviously I've done this before, but I've done a bit of work on this and kind of improved it, made it a bit smoother. So I'll zoom out here and show you how this works. So the first thing we do, I'm going to leave the original one I've made, but just do this again from scratch so you can see how it works. And I'm going to take an input in, I'm going to use aux C on the mixer. That's actually B, isn't it? So I'm just going to connect the inputs from auxiliary C into this mixer. And then I'm going to get a plateau module. So I'll just copy this one. So plateau is probably everyone's favourite reverb in VCV. I just turn that channel down. And what I'm doing is I'm going from the mixer into the input. I'm going to use blue for audio and red for CV. And then I'm going to take the output from plateau back into the aux return. And then I'm going to mute the other, well, I'll solo this aux send, so that mutes everything else. So I'm just using rings to demonstrate this, and I've got a bit of a synth pad as well that I can show later. So there's rings, and if we turn up the aux send on, what channel are we on? Channel 1. So if I just turn up C. So at the moment that's just your standard plateau. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to get rings, clouds, sorry. Rings, clouds, you know, it's kind of mandatory to put one into the other. So clouds is called a texture synthesizer in VCV. It's basically a granular thing, but it does have pitch shift as well. I seem to have lost one of the outputs there, so let's just put that back. Okay, and I'm using clouds for a pitch shift because basically you make shimmer with a pitch shift in a feedback loop. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to get an input from clouds and take that, split off the output. So you can see this output here, if you hover over it, it's going to the aux send return and it's also going into clouds. So you probably know that you can split outputs in VCV like that. And then I'm going to take the output from clouds and that's going to go back into the mixer. So this will give you like a feedback loop. Right, each time it goes around the loop, it's going to get pitch shifted. So if I just take the right channel, and that's fully down at the moment. So if I just play another few notes. So that's just normal reverb. Then if I increase this, you should hear some pitch shift coming through. Just increase the density. I need to turn that up a bit. If you wanted to make it a bit more obvious, you can turn the pitch shift up to 2 octaves. That can get a little bit shrill, if you ask me, but just to demonstrate. So that's the basic idea, and then you can see I've actually put some extra reverb on clouds as well. And then I've got the blend all the way up. And the red one does kind of stereo spread. So yeah, you can hear that coming through. This actually sounds more obvious with a different pitch shifter. So if I use this one called Greg's Brain and turn that up to, I need to zoom in here. Hold on. So I don't know if you can see this, but if you turn that control right up, you've got a transpose of plus 12 semitones. So if I just take the outputs into here as well, there's actually 2 channels on this, so the idea is they're discrete channels, but you can use it as stereo as well. And I'll just turn that down again. So you can hear that coming through. If you turn that up too much, it kind of feeds back, and that's obviously not going to sound very nice. So I've used some EQ on the return channel there, just to kind of limit the high frequencies coming through. And that module works quite well. It can sound a tiny bit harsh, so I like to use clouds because it's kind of more subtle and a bit smoother. But what I wanted to do with version 2 of this, I wanted to kind of delay the build up of the pitch shift. So instead of getting the octave above immediately, it kind of goes up on a slope, so there's no kind of high notes immediately, high frequencies, and then it kind of slowly builds up, more like a kind of a bloom than a shimmer. So what I did, if we zoom down again, this is a bit of a mess now, to be honest. What I've done, if you look at the auxiliary send A, I've actually gone into another plateau before it goes into the mixer channel, and then the feedback loop is going through a delay, and there's about 2 seconds of delay, and then that goes into another plateau to diffuse it even more, just to kind of smooth it out, and then that's going back into the return channel. So I've now actually got 3 plateau reverbs and a delay. So if I just mute that one and we'll listen to this again. So obviously that's absolutely massive. You can limit that a bit by turning down the decay. Also the size as well. Now, just out of interest, I do actually have the Valhalla Shimmer, the commercial module. So if we just look at this. So this is the Valhalla Shimmer. And if I just solo this channel. So this is just the effects on send D. So I've kind of played around with this and tried to get the settings as similar as I can to my free version, and this is the Valhalla one you're listening to now. So that's got the size control on maximum. Doesn't sound great if you do that. And it's still not as big as the one I've built in VCV. So I think the VCV one compares quite well. I don't know if you can hear this, but the pitch shift actually goes in distinct layers. So you can hear it kind of going up in steps, a jump at a time. Let's just play one note and see if you can hear that. So it's kind of going in steps. It's not a kind of smooth build up. And what I've discovered is I've got Supermassive as well. You can see I've got 2 host effects modules here, and I've got this set to one of the special effects modes, so it's on Planetarium, and I've turned up the warp and the delay. So if I just switch that on, and now we've got Supermassive into Shimmer, and that sounds even better. I actually think that's the dog's bollocks of ambient space reverb, basically. So let's just compare this. I mean, I think it sounds great. So let's take that off for a second and then see how it compares to the VCV one. So that's kind of building up quite smoothly. Then let's hear Valhalla again. It's kind of different. I think using plateau, it's more natural sounding. It's more like a plate reverb with some pitch shift as well. Whereas Shimmer always sounds a bit synthetic to me, which works great on synth sounds, but I don't think it's that good on kind of acoustic instruments like guitar. So let's, if I unmute another channel, I've been using rings to demonstrate this. I'll just zoom out again. I'll just close that for a second. So this patch is all over the place. Okay, so if I just mute rings and then unmute this synth patch I've got here. So that sounds pretty good on kind of synth sounds. Now, just to compare again, I'll mute that. And this is the VCV one. So yeah, I think they're both pretty good. So is a VCV free one better than Shimmer? Obviously I'd say yes, because I'm biased, because I made it. I think Shimmer's a bit overrated, but Supermassive into Shimmer, if you daisy chain them together, that is incredible. So, I mean, my opinion, buy the VCV host module, buy Shimmer, and then use Supermassive as well. But if you want the free one, I'll make this patch available for download, and there's a link in the description, and you can download the version 2. And yeah, have fun making space ambient with that. Thanks for watching. Bye. In fact, just for a laugh, let's put them both on.